From USA Today, Philadelphia Eagles work to remove bogus political ads purporting to endorse Kamala Harris. This is insane. Okay, look, the previous segment is about the Kamala Harris's accusations or false statements, false declarations about me. But now we are looking at this extreme degree. This is Eagles Nation posting a photo of a billboard found in Philly of the Eagles appearing to endorse Kamala Harris. The team has not made any sort of official announcement, and their voting research website listed on it hasn't been updated since the primary elections. It's Kamala wearing Eagles gear, and it says Kamala, official candidate of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we don't know who posted these, but I got to tell you, these are on bus stops in Philadelphia. This is either someone at an official capacity with lots of money reached out to a large brokerage firm. We do ads here. We started in 2022 with big billboard spends in Chicago and Times Square. And we've done Google ads since then. It was when we first started doing marketing for the show, believe it or not. And so I've worked with big advertising agencies and brokers. They know exactly who did this. There are speculation. So I'll say the Eagles have denied it, saying this is not us. We do not endorse Kamala Harris. Some people have suggested that the Eagles did endorse her, but following a major backlash, they're now acting like they didn't. I don't know if I would believe that to be true. That's kind of insane. But then the other argument would be someone, look, I'll put it this way. I have an agent. I call this agent who represents a large firm that owns many different, owns real estate all over the country. They know who I am. I have to sign a bunch of crazy paperwork. I have to give them a lot of money. So when we bought these ads in Times Square, 100,000, the first ad was 60 grand. I have to give them the money first, and then in 2 months, they'll put the ad up. They know exactly who I am. They have all of my personal details. These are massive spends. Now, I don't know how many of these were bought, but you usually don't spend a little bit of money when you're doing campaigns like this. When I was discussing bus ads in New York City, not Philadelphia, but New York City, the minimum buy they sent to me was $250,000. There is no way I can imagine this happening, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what you think.
I think this is my theory, the greatest Dallas Cowboy fan troll job of all time. So I'm thinking, for people out there who are not diehard sports fans, I am. The NFL kicks off on Thursday. The Philadelphia Eagles are in the NFC East. Their rivals are the New York Giants. New York's a blue state. The Washington Redskins, what do you want to call them now? The Commanders. You know, that is by and large.
A pig.
Yeah. That is that is the worst. That is the worst mascot of all time that they now have running around. But that's a DC area, probably left. And then you've got Red State Dallas Cowboys. If you were in advertising and you were drinking, let's just toss it out, in Dallas, and you were like, man, screw Kamala Harris. She's the worst. Who's the worst team in our division? It's the Eagles. We should do Kamala endorses the Eagles or the Eagles endorse Kamala ads. And I would put my money on this being some form of Dallas Cowboy, not the official team, but Dallas Cowboy fan pranks.
You actually think so?
And that would be my theory, because I don't think that you could get through this ad without being intentionally trying to ridicule them. I think you would get fired.
The issue is that ad companies, when they take advertisements, they check all the artwork. Yep. They go through everything. They make sure that it's not copyrighted. They make sure that you have the rights to it. I tried to get like a T-shirt made, me and my kid, at like, I don't know, Uniqlo or whatever. And he wanted to put some video game logo on it, just hand drawn. He drew it. And they were like, we can't put that on. That's copyrighted. It's not your art. And I used to work in advertising for like 5 minutes before I got fired, but you need to check all the art.
Correct. This has got the Eagles logo on it.
The logo on it.
Yeah. You can't do that. I cannot do that. So we tried running an ad in a variety of fashions. This is back when Twitter was refusing to this is back when Twitter was Twitter, before Elon bought it, and when they were running child abuse material. It was a big story. And so I reached out and I said, can we get a billboard that reads about Twitter? And they said, no. And I said, why not? You don't have the rights to that brand, and we won't run an ad that says that word. And I said, okay, well, hold on. What if we rephrase it? And then they were like, here's how you have to restructure it to avoid copyright issues. And I was like, well, then we're not running the ad at all. It was going to be an activist protest billboard, but they were like copyright and I forgot what they said. For the other thing was obscenity or something like that. So the word was child abuser, starts with an E, but they don't want that on their billboards. Now, granted, this is just the Eagles logo.
Yeah.
But you are not submitting that. So the argument could be that someone got a bunch of these printed up and then broke into those boxes to add. How you have to know how to do that.
There's an artist that they were saying, and I can't remember his name, but who does similar styled art, and he's done it with like Nike, but it's all pro Joe Biden, right? So the idea that this was made by someone who kind of uses commercial logos or whatever in their art isn't entirely unreasonable. And I would go back to, I assume to get them all up so quickly uniformly, you would have to have some kind of advertising connection. You'd have to know how to get these things placed. But you made me laugh before the show because you were saying that your
great.
team
This is
supports
great.
Kamala Harris is like a college football insult right now.
It is. Like Notre Dame just played. I'm a huge college football fan. Notre Dame just played against Texas A&M down in Texas, and a bunch of the frats had Notre Dame endorses Kamala Harris, basically huge signs that they hung outside of the fraternity houses, sororities too. So the idea that you would endorse Kamala Harris is an insult in many sections of college football right now. And so that's why I'm thinking, again, Dallas Cowboys trolling. Now, you may be well right that the logos, maybe they didn't expect it to work.
Well,
it's an error in judgment that somebody allowed it to be put up. I'm fascinated by this story.
I've seen some statements that there's more than one. This USA Today article says at least one.
Yeah.
If there's one, someone broke into the machine and put it in there somehow. Someone who knew how these things worked got in there. I think this is one of those that rolls. Is that what, I don't know.
It's on the like SEPTA, Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation.
But it's the kind that like flips to like different ads on rollers.
Yeah, I think it has those.
If it's
some have those, but it would be hard to get in there.
If
it's a roller, I don't know how you break into that. I mean, it's sophisticated.
Here's the other thing. Remember they had that idiot would-be Josh Shapiro ad where he was going to be VP and it leaked.
Right.
And then they were like, oh, who did
Philadelphia
this?
Mayor Sherelle
So,
Parker,
I wonder if it could be connected in some way. The same idiot that made that video and somehow got it released for Josh Shapiro, whether simultaneously they were doing Eagle-related ads. They didn't get the right approval, but they have the ability to upload things, and this thing got out there. I want to know the full story.
Yeah,
Like,
I do too.
I really want to know if it's a prank or if somebody's an idiot and they thought, oh, we're in a battleground state. Turnout in Philadelphia might well decide the presidential election.
And Philadelphia is kind of an activist city. I mean, we did see a lot of activism there.
Yeah.
So I could totally see someone who had access being like, I got to do this anyways. I really want to. But it makes me laugh because this is coming the same day the New York Times is running this article, left-wing misinformation is having a moment. Now, if you read the article at the end, they basically blame Trump. They're like, he's
They
responsible
blame
for all bad
Trump
things.
for everything.
Yeah.
But it is
Trump
interesting
for
for their wanting to destroy the Constitution.
But it's interesting because they are acknowledging that there have been several major missteps by the Harris campaign that are misinformation, that they are presenting these false informations. Again, what happened over the weekend to Tim. Like there is a mistrust in the Harris campaign where people don't believe. I mean, the fact that people are immediately like, I don't think the Eagles endorsed her tells you that like between her and Walls, his stolen valor and his fake IVF, people don't look at the two of them and think this is an honest ticket. They will really tell us the truth.
By the way, the other people that could be involved here, Pittsburgh Steeler fans.
You're coming up with your whole new conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge Steeler versus the Eagles element of Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh is much more of a 50-50, surrounding. I would bet most Steelers fans are going to vote Trump, whereas I would bet maybe most Eagles fans are going to vote Kamala. That's just a rough approximation.
The ones that vote, yeah.
And that might not even be accurate, by the way.
Now all these NFL teams have to issue a statement being like, we were not involved.
The thing too is, how often does a sports team endorse a candidate?
Yeah,
should never do it.
Does that
I've never
happen
heard of it.
very
Why do
often?
news organizations do it?
Well, the New York Times does it because they think they're the rulers of the universe.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
And I think other editorial boards
I mean, they
do
do.
for the same reason. They feel as
Right.
though they are
I mean,
trying to
we
be
don't
ahead
do
of the
it,
news.
you know.
To
we
Libby's
don't do
point, I mean, it wasn't the New York Times didn't just tell Joe Biden that he had to drop out once.
No, they
They
kept
did it,
saying
and then they were like,
they got
"Hey, we
George
really mean
Clooney to
it."
do
Yeah,
it,
and then we
you
got
know?
George Clooney to write it.
Yeah.
But you're a sports guy. Has this ever happened before where a sports team has been like, we
Well,
want to
I
throw
lo-
our hat in the ring politically?
I like to think that Outkick is starting to kind of bring normalcy back to sports, because the craziest thing that's ever happened in sports politically. Do you remember the NBA put Black Lives Matter on the basketball court?
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
They took the players' names off the back
Yeah.
and replaced them with almost exclusively left-wing political slogans. Like, that freaking
Well, and
happened.
the thing too was, I remember that because the NBA players were allowed to pick their left-wing political
That's
slogan,
right.
but they weren't allowed to pick like
Their name.
"All Lives Matter" or
couldn't do it.
"Save Unborn Babies"
Yes.
or
No.
anything like that. You
No,
know, or
totally.
"Close the border." They weren't allowed to
no, of
pick
course
like
not.
slogans that they might have actually believed in, and anyone who didn't kneel down
Yes.
was, shunned and called white supremacist and all of the horrible things.
And remember, the craziest one of all was the WNBA players came out in Jacob Blake T-shirts.
Oh, that was crazy.
Right, and
He tried
was an
to murder
abuser,
a black
right?
woman,
Yeah,
and she called the police
Well,
to protect him.
He was trying to rape her.
yeah.
She called.
They were estranged. She had a restraining order.
That's right, and he
And
showed
then
up.
You had
showed
the
up
football
at the
player
house.
with the name on his helmet.
Drew Brees.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Drew Brees put because Drew Brees said. Remember, Drew Brees got ripped for saying that the reason he stood for the anthem was because his grandfathers fought Nazis in World War II, and then they started chanting "F Drew Brees."
Wow.
And so he showed up with Jacob Blake's name on his helmet, and
This is a
Jacob
guy
Blake,
who ended up paralyzed when he was trying to kidnap his children.
because he had a knife,
Yeah.
and refused to put it down, and was trying to show up and attack the mother of his children.
Yeah, I think he had assaulted her before. She got a restraining order.
That's right.
It was a long time ago. And then he reaches and grabs a knife in his car, and the cop shoots him.
After trying to tase him and stop him for
Right.
some time before, he went and withdrew a weapon from his car.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.